Hello, this is Rick Powers coming to you from my home office for Western Technical College. And this is the introduction video to week number 5 in the course Math with Business Applications. And for this week, there's a very important note that I've put on the course, and that is that we're going to be talking about algebra. Now, a lot of people, when you say the word algebra, they have a pretty emotional reaction because of things that have happened in the past. And I understand that, and I know that there are sometimes some very emotional things going on with this topic. And I want you to know that I understand, and I want you to put that into perspective. This is not an algebra class. We are not focused on algebra for most of what we do in our class. It's a class about business math, and some of that includes algebra simply because there are some mental skills that are developed using algebra that are useful in business. That doesn't mean that you're actually going to be solving equations when you get out into the business world. But algebra involves a lot more than just solving equations. There are other things about the process that make it important in various business situations. And so then my desire is to open that door for you and for you to make as much progress as you're able to in that area. And so then basically, I want to encourage you to simply do the best that you can in the subject area. And for some people, it's just not a big deal at all. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I've done algebra. It's something that I can do pretty well, and I remember all these other things that I've learned about it. But for other people, it's a huge emotional barrier. And I would prefer that you handle it as best you can, and then be okay with that. As far as you're able to go and what you are able to do, that's what I want you to do. Now, it's also true that there's, how can I say this? Anytime you're able to make progress in an area, then that means you might be able to do something that you were not expecting to be able to do, or that you didn't know about. And that's good in terms of what we call personal development, right? So that you would actually know how to do something. And so then when we look at the actual list of things that we have set up to do here, there's a lot of steps in algebra. And it can be very intimidating, but if you just work through what you're able to do, and if something gets too difficult or feels like it's impossible, just skip it. All right? I don't want you to feel like you have to do everything. Now, in addition to the algebra section, I also wanted to mention that much of the material for the algebra section is in the supplement for the course, which is a link on the left side of Blackboard, talks about the supplement. It's not as much in the textbook, although there is some material in there as well. And then we also have a section about payroll. There's not as much there. It's a smaller section of our course, but it's definitely a business-related item where you need to understand the processes of how to figure out how much people get paid, both for hourly work and for piecework. And you may not be familiar with some of that, and so it's good to go through that. Also recall that we do have a discussion board that will be coming up due in a few weeks, and your participation is important there as well. All right, and again, certainly if you have any questions, feel free to let me know or to contact Learner Support, and best wishes on this week's material.